Good day, kababayan. Despite the success of many overseas Filipino workers, OFWs, in different parts of the world, it cannot be denied that some of our kababayan are facing severe challenges, including the lack of proper housing or being homeless. This problem is usually caused by undocumented status, unemployment, or inhumane working conditions. In this article, we will discuss 10 countries where many Filipinos experience homelessness. Although they usually leave the Philippines in search of a better life, there are situations where these dreams end up in crisis. We will also discuss the reasons for this situation and the steps being taken to address this problem. Let's learn the stories and conditions of our countrymen in these countries, and how we can help or support them in their fight for a better future. And before we start, kabayan, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you're always updated on our new uploaded videos. Thank you very much, kabayan. Let's get started. Number 10. South Korea. Currently, there are an estimated 62,000 Filipinos living in South Korea, including workers and their families. Many of them work under the Employment Permit System, EPS, which allows foreign workers to work in sectors such as manufacturing, construction, and agriculture. South Korea is one of the main destinations of overseas Filipino workers, OFWs, due to higher wages and better working conditions compared to other countries. However, some OFWs in South Korea become homeless due to complications such as loss of legal status. Undocumented status is often caused by overstaying or running away from an abusive employer. When they lose their legal documents, they cannot work properly and finding a new job becomes difficult. Some of them are forced to sleep in public places such as bus stations, parks, or terminals while waiting for opportunities or help from fellow Filipinos or organizations. The homelessness of Filipino workers in South Korea is often rooted in the following reasons: lack of legal status, unfair working conditions, and lack of support from family or community. Additionally, South Korea's strict regulation of undocumented workers creates fear and lack of access to emergency services. To address this problem, stronger support is needed from the Philippine government, non-governmental organizations (NGOs), and local Filipino community groups to provide temporary shelter and legal assistance to our compatriots in this situation. However, the number of Filipinos who become homeless there is not so much as others say, because we are known for being smart and strategic in life. Number 9. Taiwan. Taiwan is one of the main destinations for overseas Filipino workers, OFWs, because of its high wages and good job opportunities. Currently, it is estimated that there are more than 150,000 Filipino workers in Taiwan, most of whom work in the manufacturing, electronics, and caregiving sectors. Filipinos are known for their high level of skill and dedication to work, which has helped build the good reputation of OFWs in the country. However, there are Filipino workers who face a difficult situation, particularly some of them who have lost their legal status due to various reasons, such as the non-renewal of their work permits or perhaps leaving by their employer to them. Sleeping in public places is a big issue experienced by some Filipino workers who have lost their legal status. According to reports, there are OFWs sleeping in bus stations, parks, and other public places while looking for new jobs. This situation causes fear and anxiety, as they may also face legal issues and deportation. This makes it more difficult for them to find proper opportunities, as having legal status is a major obstacle to finding work in Taiwan. The reason why some of the Filipino workers end up being homeless can be attributed to several factors, such as the lack of information about their rights as migrant workers and the difficulty of promoting contact with institutions that can help them. Many of them do not have strong support from their agencies or communities, so their situation becomes difficult. The collapse of job opportunities, along with the high cost of living, causes some of them to end up on the streets, relying on the help of others to make ends meet. But even so, there are not as many homeless Filipinos in Taiwan as others say, because we have many kababayans there who are willing to help each other. Number 8. Japan. Currently, there are an estimated 333,000 Filipinos living in Japan until June 2024, which includes workers and their families. Many of them work under legal programs such as the Technical Intern Training Program (TITP) and Specified Skilled Worker (SSW) visa, which aims to fill Japan's labor shortage in various sectors such as caregiving, construction, and agriculture. However, there are Filipinos who become undocumented or have no legal status in Japan. This can be caused by overstaying after their visa expires, fleeing from unfair working conditions, or entering the country on tourist visas that do not allow legal employment. The lack of legal status poses a major challenge in finding housing, as landlords and employers require legal documents before providing services or employment. As a result, undocumented Filipinos struggle to find shelter and decent employment. Although there is no specific data on the number of homeless Filipino workers in Japan, their condition is a serious issue. The lack of legal status limits their access to housing services and support from the government or organizations. Moreover, the fear of being caught and deported causes them to avoid institutions that can help. The combination of these factors, lack of legal status, limited job opportunities, and lack of support drives some Filipino workers to become homeless in Japan. Number 7. Singapore. Currently, it is estimated that there are more than 200,000 Filipinos living in Singapore, including workers in various sectors, such as domestic work, healthcare, and construction. Filipino domestic helpers make up a large portion of OFWs in Singapore due to the high demand for household services. Under their contract, domestic helpers usually live in their employer's residence, which is part of their job and benefits. However, there are cases of Filipino domestic helpers becoming homeless after losing their jobs. Often, job loss is caused by a sudden termination of a contract, a dispute with an employer, or other unforeseen circumstances. When they lose their job, they also lose their home because they depend on their employer for housing. Because of this, some of them are forced to stay in public places or stay temporarily while waiting for a new job or fixing their document. The homelessness of Filipino domestic helpers in Singapore is often rooted in the lack of immediate support from their employers, agencies, or the government. The lack of alternative housing, limited access to legal aid, and the fear of deportation make their situation worse. In order to help OFWs in this situation, it is important to have wider support from the Philippine government, non-governmental organizations (NGOs), and Filipino communities in Singapore to ensure their safety and well-being. Number 6. Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, Filipino workers are one of the largest groups of foreign workers, especially domestic helpers. According to reports, approximately 200,000 Filipino domestic workers work in Hong Kong. Most of them leave their provinces in the Philippines to find better life opportunities and higher incomes, helping their families back home. Many Filipino domestic workers lose their homes after their contracts in Hong Kong due to various reasons. Some of them become victims of unpleasant working conditions, such as long working hours, low wages, or even abuse from their employers. If their contract ends and no new employer is arranged, they often lose a place to rest, making it difficult for them to find a new job and support their needs. Labor disputes are also a reason why some Filipino domestic workers lose their homes. In some cases, a dispute arises between the workers and the employer that leads to the filing of a complaint or lawsuit. During the process of settling these issues, domestic workers may become homeless, especially if they are not allowed to stay in their employers' homes while their issues are being dealt with. Because of this, support from nonprofit organizations and embassies is very important to help them find alternative solutions to their situation. Anyway, there are not that many homeless Filipinos in Hong Kong, unlike what others say. Our kababayans are always ready to help each other. Number 5. Qatar. Currently, there are estimated to be around 230,000 Filipino workers in Qatar, mostly in the construction, health, and service sectors, including domestic workers. However, there are reports of Filipino workers experiencing poor working conditions, such as low wages, excessive working hours, and inhumane living conditions. These situations have left some workers stranded, struggling to return home to the Philippines due to lack of sufficient funds or support. In 2013, Amnesty International reported that migrant workers in Qatar, including Filipinos, experienced human rights violations, such as withholding their passports and non-payment of wages. The lack of adequate support and protection, along with restrictions on their movement and limited access to legal aid, causes some workers to become homeless and homeless. The inhumane working conditions and the system of kafala or sponsorship system in Qatar causes stranded and homeless migrant workers, including Filipinos. Even so, our kababayans in Qatar are ready to help each other, to avoid being homeless, because we are the only ones who will help each other back. Number 4. Malaysia. Currently, there are an estimated 325,000 Filipino workers in Malaysia, mostly in the construction, manufacturing, and service sectors. Many of them work in Sabah, a state in the eastern part of Malaysia. Sabah is known as a destination for many Filipinos looking for better opportunities because of its proximity to the Philippines and the need for labor in the region. Despite the large number of Filipino workers in Sabah, many of them remain undocumented or without legal documents. Because of this, they live in informal settlements or unofficial settlements, which often lack basic services such as clean water, electricity, and proper sanitation. The lack of legal status causes fear of deportation and limited access to health and education services, making their daily lives difficult. Lack of documentation and legal protection also causes job and housing insecurity. When undocumented Filipinos lose their jobs, they find it difficult to find a new source of income because of their status. Moreover, the informal settlements they live in are often subject to demolition by the authorities, causing them to become homeless. The lack of support from the government and the fear of approaching the authorities due to their undocumented status further worsens their situation. Number 3. Kuwait. Currently, it is estimated that there are approximately 216,200 Filipino workers in Kuwait, most of whom work as domestic workers. These Filipinos are hoping for higher wages and better opportunities to support their families in the Philippines. However, there are reports of abuse of domestic workers in Kuwait, including Filipinos. According to Human Rights Watch, these workers experience physical, sexual, and psychological abuse, as well as delayed or unpaid wages, excessive working hours that reach up to 21 hours per day without rest, and deprivation of food and sleep. Due to these inhumane conditions, some of them are forced to run away from their employers to escape the abuse. Running away from their employers causes additional problems for domestic workers. Under the kafala system in Kuwait, workers who run away are considered lawbreakers and face criminal charges for running away. As a result, many of them become undocumented or have no legal status, limiting their ability to find new jobs or obtain legal protection. The lack of legal identity and fear of the authorities causes some of them to lose their homes and become homeless, further worsening their situation in Kuwait. Even that is what others experience. There are not that many homeless Filipinos in Kuwait, because our kababayans always work together to avoid this situation. Number 2. UAE. Currently, there are an estimated 679,819 Filipino workers in the United Arab Emirates (UAE), constituting 6.1% of the country's total population. In Dubai, there are an estimated 450,000 Filipinos, representing 21.3% of the city's population. Many Filipinos are leaving our country to find better job opportunities, higher income, and a better life to support their families in the Philippines. Despite the benefits of working in the UAE, OFWs face challenges, including having legal issues that cause them to be undocumented. Many OFWs lose their jobs due to various reasons such as downsizing in companies, visa renewals that are not met, or their skills are no longer needed. When an OFW loses his job and their visa is not renewed, their situation becomes difficult. If they do not have legal documents, finding new jobs and housing becomes a challenge, making them prone to abuse and exploitation. Because of this, many Filipinos are forced to stay in the country without proper papers, causing them to fall into the state of being undocumented. Due to the lack of services, support, and information about their rights, some OFWs end up in a state of homelessness. In these instances, homeless Filipinos often become victims of unjust conditions and lack of help from agencies. Falling into this situation not only brings physical danger but also emotional pain to Filipinos who hope to return home with good fortune. These show the need for more effective programs and support for OFWs, especially those who lose their capacity to work and are left homeless. But despite everything, the number of homeless Filipinos there is not that big, also because of the cooperation of our kababayans to avoid situations like this. Number 1. USA. Currently, there are an estimated 4.2 million Filipinos in the United States, including those born in the Philippines and those born in America of Filipino descent. Many of them work in various sectors such as healthcare, education, technology, and services. The United States is one of the main destinations for Filipinos looking for better work and living opportunities. Although rare, there are reports of Filipinos becoming homeless in the United States. Some of them become undocumented or have no legal status due to various reasons, such as visa expiration or unauthorized stay. Lack of legal documents poses challenges in finding work and housing, as employers and landlords usually require proper documentation. Moreover, the fear of deportation causes them to avoid services that could help them. Aside from the issue of being undocumented, personal problems such as job loss, illness, or family problems can also cause homelessness for some Filipinos in the United States. The lack of support and the high cost of living in some parts of the country make it difficult for them to recover. However, there are organizations such as the Filipino Association of Workers and Immigrants (PAWIS) that provide support and assistance to Filipino workers and immigrants in the United States to meet their needs and improve their condition. At the end of our discussion about the 10 countries with the most homeless Filipinos, we understood the condition of our kababayans who are facing various challenges in other countries. They become a symbol of stability and hope, even in the most difficult situations. It is important that we continue our understanding and support to them, not only as Filipinos but as citizens of the world. May we continue to unite in helping and giving voice to their stories and needs. Having a home is more than a physical space, it is having dignity and security. In the end, each story of these Filipinos is proof that despite the trials, there is hope and opportunity for change. Now that we have finished our discussion, may it be an inspiration to all of us to further enrich our concern for others and overcome the challenges that will come. Thank you so much for listening. And if you like our video, just comment in the comment section what we talk about next, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also click the notification bell so that you always be updated in our newly uploaded video.